All right, folks. I've got some news here, somewhat breaking news, and something that's not good news, at least in my opinion. And that is the idea of having Medicare Advantage be the default option. Now, I have brought this up recently, about a month ago, where the government has talked about making Medicare Advantage the default option. It's a bad idea. I brought it up in my Dr.Oz video a few months ago on what he can do to make Medicare great again. And the one thing I said that he shouldn't do was to make Medicare the default option. And last year, when I did my review of Project 2025 by the Heritage Foundation, I pointed out in there where they said they want to make Medicare Advantage the default option, it was a bad idea. I think it's kind of interesting, especially the Heritage Foundation, that is somewhat, as far as I know, a libertarian organization which believes in freedom of choice. This is not freedom of choice. This is being put into bondage to Medicare Advantage. This is detrimental. I don't care if you are conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, elephant, or donkey. It doesn't matter. This is bad for every Medicare beneficiary, every American. If you think differently, I'd love to know your opinion. Anyway, here it is, Congress.gov, HR 3467, to amend Title 18 to reform the Medicare Advantage program. Does Medicare Advantage need to be reformed? Yep, sure does, but this isn't the way to do it. It is introduced by David Schweikert, a representative and Republican from Arizona. So let me actually pull up the bill here. And here you can see it. I am not going to go down through the whole thing. You can find this online if you want to read the whole thing. But anyway, it's reforming Medicare Advantage. I want to get to the part that is the most concerning and most alarming. And that is this part right here, Section 1859A, automatic enrollment, plan change limitations. Okay, you talk about going into bondage. You talk about not having freedom of choice. And putting people in jeopardy. That this is an issue. Unless I'm just missing something, or they got different ideas, I don't think this is good. So let me kind of read to you what it says here. For plan years beginning on or after January 1st, 2028, the Secretary shall provide for the automatic enrollment of each individual entitled to the benefits under Part A and enrolled under Part B into the MA plan with the lowest premium available to such individual. Okay, there's problems right here. So basically what's going to happen is people are going to be auto-enrolled into a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, this is very common when it comes to Medicaid from the state level. Somebody that is a full benefit, dual eligible Medicaid beneficiary, in most states, if not all states, the state will contract with a handful of insurance companies to administer, to run the Medicaid insurance, so to speak. And people will be just given, here's the insurance, whether it's through Humana, Aetna, United Healthcare, whatever. They do have the option to switch out if they want to, but it's by default. That's not a big deal because in their case, either they've chosen original Medicare as primary or they've chosen Medicare Advantage as primary. Not a big deal. Here, you don't have a choice whatsoever. And the funny thing is with the lowest premium. Now, they have a thing on here, special rule if multiple low-cost plans available, where there will be. But is the government going to analyze the drug benefit? Okay, maybe there's 2 zero premium plans that got equal benefits, but one plan covers drugs better. Are they going to know all the drugs that somebody's taking and be able to give them the plan with the best medication coverage? What about their network? What if their doctor's not in the network? Okay, so that's a problem. But they do have an opt-out. The Secretary shall provide each individual automatically enrolled, important, automatically enrolled into a qualified MA plan under this subsection with an opportunity to decline such enrollment. Okay, and how soon and how much time will they have to do it? Right now, when somebody's getting their Medicare, especially at 65, getting A and B, they have their initial election period. They got 3 months before the month of their birthday, the month of their birthday, and up to 3 months after. Okay. How much time will these people have to opt out? Will it be the same thing? Will they receive a notification 3 months before their month of birthday? Hey, here's your Medicare Advantage plan. And if you don't want it, okay, you can opt out and maybe pick another Medicare Advantage plan or just keep original Medicare and get a supplement. What's going to happen with that? So they can decline it. Now, what happens if 3 months go by? Okay, listen to this. Mandatory continuous enrollment, notwithstanding any other provision of this title except as provided in paragraph 2, in the case of an individual who enrolls in an MA plan for a plan year beginning on or after January 1st, 2028, such individual may not for a 3-year period, beginning on the date such individual so enrolls in an MA plan. Look what it says. A, enroll in any other MA plan under this part, or elect to receive benefits under this title through traditional fee-for-service Medicare under Part A or Part B. So not only are they not going to be able to switch from one Medicare Advantage plan to another for 3 full years, if after 6 months they don't like it, or after a year they don't like it, and where's the annual election period? They can't even go back to original Medicare and pick up a Medicare supplement. Folks, this is foolishness is what it is. This lacks a lot of wisdom and discernment from Representative Schweikert and anybody that is on board with this thing, for sure. It's craziness in my mind. Now, look, I've been doing Medicare for 15 years. I've worked with several thousand Medicare beneficiaries. I have hundreds, thousands, I don't know how many. I've enrolled a lot of people in Medicare Advantage. And for the most part, probably 80% of them, it has worked well, and they're very, very happy with it, which is pretty much, if you look at all the people that have Medicare Advantage, that's the way it is. But Medicare Advantage is not right for everybody. There are some serious issues with Medicare Advantage, which if you've watched my videos, I've addressed those and will continue to address those, okay? Should some people have it? Yeah, probably so. But the deal is, especially in this country, you should have the freedom to choose which one you want. And now you're going to be mandated to have it. And if you don't opt out, you're going to be locked into it for 3 years, and you won't be able to go to fee for service, and you may not be able to pick up then a Medicare supplement. Now, what happens if you don't like the plan in the year and you want to go to original Medicare and you want to get a Medicare supplement? Well, maybe you were healthy enough after the first year, but 3 years from now, you won't qualify for a Medicare supplement in the future. What are they going to do with that? Because most people have to 65 and a half to get a Medicare supplement guaranteed. What are they going to do? They're going to change that rule too? Okay, that part. Let me, I don't want to make this too long. The next part in here that's also concerning, if you look, required inclusion of hospice care. So the way it works right now, if you have Medicare Advantage and you need hospice care, hopefully you don't, but if you do, then all that hospice coverage comes off of Medicare Advantage and goes back to Medicare Part A, and Medicare pays for everything. And hospice care, especially if it's full-time hospice care, can get quite expensive for sure. But now they want to put it all under Medicare Advantage. So we already know that there's issues on Medicare Advantage for people that go into skilled nursing, and they get kicked out after a week or so because they're not improving, which okay, sort of makes sense. But hospice might be even a more serious issue. Who's going to determine whether they need the hospice care? Right now, under hospice, normally a nurse will come out, or a doctor, or the nurse will contact the doctor, and you got to get doctor certification that you genuinely need hospice care of some level. Okay, so what are the insurance companies going to do? Are they going to have their own doctors to determine that? Say, no, you really don't need it. Whereas before, you probably had a greater likelihood of being qualified for hospice care. So, folks, this is, in my opinion, is not good. Here's a couple quick headlines here. Hospice news inside the Medicare Advantage Reform Act. Skilled nursing news. Ill-conceived proposed bill would require Medicare Advantage to pay for hospice care. Basically, what they have stated in here is, if enacted, the bill would make wholesale changes to the Medicare Advantage program. It would reduce beneficiary choice and access to care via MA default enrollment, which would lock beneficiaries into one Medicare Advantage plan for 3 years, even if plan benefits, provider networks, or costs to the enrollees change annually. That is not fair. That is not freedom. That is not serving the Medicare beneficiary that is now and is to come. Not allowing beneficiaries to change plans would likely create less competition and plan accountability for access to care in the marketplace. Well, I'm in favor of less competition when it comes to Medicare Advantage. Normally I'm not, but there's so many plans right now. There's too many plans. That's one of the things that should be reformed. Why don't we get rid of 80% of the plans? Because when there's 4,000 plans and the average person has 40-some plans to pick from, that's way too many. That's kind of nonsense on there. While reforms are needed, these are not the right reforms, and frankly, these would decimate both MA plans and providers trying to provide care. Choice has been a fundamental piece of the Medicare program and one that needs to continue, she said. I agree. So that's my breaking news for today. If you don't like this rule, instead of hemming and hawing about it, I want to encourage you, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to write my elected representatives, especially as an agent. I'm not a Medicare beneficiary yet. Got a few more years to go for that. But as an agent that sees firsthand, more so than what any congressman does, any government bureaucrat at CMS, probably even most providers, I know what goes on with my clients that are Medicare beneficiaries, what they're dealing with, whether they have Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement, what the pros and cons are. I know what's going on. These guys do not know. So I will be writing them more or less on the behalf of Medicare beneficiaries. If you are not in favor of this, I would encourage you to write your elected representatives and tell them that you oppose this. Perhaps I'll do a further video down the road, and I will certainly, as I see more news about this, keep you abreast. That's it. If you need help with enrolling into Medicare, picking a Medicare Advantage plan, a drug plan, a Medicare supplement, especially if you're turning 65, and you're from one of the states that I'm licensed in, by all means, please reach out to me. I'm Chris Prang, the Medicare analyst. Make it a great day.